Our next question will come from Tim for candidate Cepeda.
Following the last town board election, one of the first orders of business was to approve a pay increase. The position of town board member pays $18,000 and supervisor $26,000 plus $6,000 more as a budget officer, or $32,000 annually. And benefits are available with the town paying either 90 or 90% of their costs. Do you think that's a satisfactory salary, or will you vote to increase it?
I'm sorry, the last part of the question was?
Do you think that it's a satisfactory salary, or will you vote to increase it?
I believe based upon the amount of leadership, also the work, the dedication that's required to serve town council, should have an adequate pay scale. As far as a pay increase, I always think that pay increases should be justified, especially in these very hard economic times when people are actually asked to give up salary or give something back versus to take. As far as the benefits, I think that's splendid, and I think it's definitely something worth for these individuals that serve the town council. I think that we need to help each other and provide incentives. However, at the same time, I believe as servant leaders, we should always look to curtail how we're judging ourselves and ask the people to judge us rather than give ourselves our own pay increase. I think we really need to ask our voters, how are we doing? What are we doing? And then justify what we're doing by what they say.
Mike?
John.
John, sorry, John.
My first statement would be compare what Richard's salary is or the town council to our neighboring towns. Richard has a full-time position with a part-time pay, with a part-time salary. We don't just get paid for the time that we spend on a job, and believe me, if we figured it out by the hour what we get paid, it would be below minimum wage, I can tell you that much for sure. The first year we did get the $1,000, I felt, you know what, this may be not right, but it was a last minute thing, it was in the budget. I felt to the point that I needed to do something else, and that was the year that I worked to install the generator at the rec center. I donated my labor to provide the slab and dug the hole to put the generator in. So I think I more than made up for it in that calendar year. And at no point do I think we deserve a raise at this point. So during these economic times, I wouldn't think that we would need an increase. I would support an increase for the supervisor though, because of the amount of hours he does spend on the job at town hall. I'm very familiar with the time he spends there, and he really is not compensated for what he does.
Lee?
At this point in time in the economy, I wouldn't support any raises going forward right now until we can see a really much of turnaround in the revenues that the town generates, and then maybe we could say to the citizens, what do you think and how are we doing in this job? Right now, we're not a Class A town. We're not above 10,000, so once we reach that barrier, then we do go up to that salaries. The salaries do increase, but our neighboring towns are a Class A and they do get full-time salary. But right now we're below that level, we're below that mark, so that's why we don't reach up to that level. But I think we should freeze the salaries right where they are.
Mike?
Having done a manpower evaluation and so forth in the past myself, I think you obviously it's very important. I don't think I'd get locked into exact populations. You really have to evaluate the actual work that someone performs. And then based on that, it's based upon what you're really getting back for that. What I've observed over the number of years working on the 3 different boards I serve now is the town supervisor and the town board members put in a tremendous amount of effort in what they do. It's a lot of hours, that's a lot of people, phone calls, reaching out, workshops. I think a lot of people just kind of take a look at it's once a month that they see someone at a meeting or a town meeting and think there's not much more that goes beyond that. There's a lot of, having attended town meetings for a number of years now, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of preparation, there's a lot of work that goes on. Workshops are handled quite often. When we went through zoning, we went through a numerous amount of workshops. All of that have to be attended by the board. That's personal life, put on hold. This is a part-time job, so those people they have full-time work. They have to be able to coordinate one with the other. As far as actual amounts go, the supervisor is paid the additional $6,000. I think, but if you take a look at the actual budget, the budget is the lifeblood of this town. It's very complex, it has to be done right. If it's not done right, you're gonna have problems. You have to be able to forecast and look ahead to things, and if you don't do that properly, you can have problems. You can't always anticipate things as they come up, as we have with the economy. All of us were able to plan well enough, I'm sure we would have made a little bit different arrangements. As far as the council positions go, I think it's pretty adequate. I think John's point is absolutely right. You would probably be getting paid less than minimum wage. It clearly is a very hard job, and you have to want to volunteer and be able to have the time necessary to do the job properly, and I think they're adequately paid now.